Welcome into the Rock Talk Studio, the podcast where we dissect, analyze, and discuss the world of rock and roll books, documentaries, and movies. And today we're going to do something we've never done before. We're going to talk about something that's not a rock and roll book, that's not a rock and roll documentary, that's not a rock and roll movie, but it is all rock and roll. And that's Bruce Springsteen's interview with Howard Stern that's currently running on HBO Max. I had to jump on and do a show on this because it's just so good. I wanted to talk about it. So we're going to do an altered version of the Rock Talk Studio. Instead of 3 sets, we're going to do 2. The first set is going to be the review of the show, and we'll also stamp our rating on it. The second set is, as usual, where we discuss about what a true fan is going to get out of this and what a casual fan, if it's worth, if you're just a casual fan of Springsteen or maybe even Howard Stern, is this worth your time? Should you take time out and check this out? And then we're going to do an encore like we always do. Every good rock show's got an encore. We got a good one today too, a really, really good one. And that's where I kind of mined around and dug up something, kind of the next step, the next place to go for information or something you need to hear, see, or read about Bruce Springsteen. Okay, I'm your host, Big Rick. Let's plug in. So this is a filmed interview of the Howard Stern show, and Stern finally gets Bruce to come on the show after years of Howard trying to get him on the show. And it's cool. It's Bruce sitting on a stool. He's got a guitar in his lap. He's noodling around. He's talking. He's playing songs. He also moves over to the piano when the inspiration calls, and he does a bunch of numbers. He does about 11 abbreviated songs. And Howard is super geeked up, and you can tell how important this is to him. And it really shows in the way he approached the interview. And that right off the bat is really what I enjoyed about what Stern did and the way he interviewed Springsteen. I mean, he digs in and he doesn't let up. And when asking Springsteen about how he comes up with his songs, he was really persistent and he didn't let up. And when Bruce kind of gave him the usual rock and roll answer, kind of brushed him off on how he does it. And as fans, we all want to know what inspired the songs, how he puts them together. Does he do the music first? Does he write the lyrics? Where does he write the stuff? And there was a time when Howard asked Bruce about that process and Bruce didn't answer. Then Howard asked him again. He's like, come on, man, tell me, answer the question. And Bruce tried again, and I'll give him credit. He shared some depth on what he goes through to write his songs. And that was a really cool moment of this show. The interview features Springsteen kind of noodling on his guitar while he talks, and then he'll break into song to make kind of his point. Or he just off the cuff what he's talking about. I mean, he started playing a Dylan song for a little bit. He also jumps on the piano, as I mentioned, for a few numbers, which is really cool. And the questions were great. Major props to Stern, but the songs and the playing are at times just breathtaking. And after a deep share, Springsteen will go into a song and damn, man, it is powerful. It's intense. It's what makes Bruce Bruce. It's heartfelt and it's poignant. And the reason why any fan of rock and roll is going to love this interview / show is what Bruce shares in this 2-hour event. He even brings Stern to tears during a rendition of Thunder Road, which Howard confessed that was the first time anyone's ever made him cry on his show. I really, really enjoyed how much effort Springsteen put into answering the question. It wasn't a fluff piece. I mean, Stern is Stern. He jokes around a little bit, but overall, he really digs in, and Bruce is prepared. He's ready to go for this show. He's personable. He's laughing a lot. He seems really relaxed, like he was having a good time. And even though at times it was serious, I mean, dead serious, when he talks about his relationships with his dad or his wife, or especially with being with Clarence Clemens and his family during the final moments of Clarence's life. I mean, the interview has a casual feel to it, but man, he does a song wrapped around that Clarence moment, and that is worth the price of admission alone. Such a great, great show. The Howard Stern interview of Bruce Springsteen. And now this is the reason why I came on and did this special edition of Rock Talk Studio. It is so good that anybody out there who is even wondering about this show and tunes into my show, I had to recommend this and talk about it because it is a must see. question, a different opinion, hey, who doesn't? We're talking rock and roll here. Shout out to me, Big Rick, at rocktalkstudio@gmail.com. That's rocktalkstudio@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you and tell me what you think about the show or what you want to hear in upcoming shows. Now's the time where we're going to put our Rock Talk Studio stamp and rating on this interview from Howard Stern on Bruce Springsteen, where a 1 is front row, doesn't get any better, highly, highly recommended. 2, you're in the loge seats, it's not a bad view, not bad, still recommended. And 3, you're in the nosebleeds, baby. Bruce Springsteen's interview with Howard Stern, you are front row center. There is no doubt about it. I highly recommend this show. What a great, great show. But what about if you're a casual fan? Are you going to think the same way as I do about this show? And even if you're like a really, really deep Springsteen fan, is this going to be something that, is going to be interesting to you? In the next set, I'm going to go over both of those sides of the coin. We're going to take a look at what a casual fan's going to see and get out of this, and if it's worth it for a casual fan, if they are going to agree with this front row rating. And then we're also going to take a look at what a true Bruce Springsteen fan is going to love about the Howard Stern interview. Now it's time for our second set. Our second set is where we do true fan versus casual fan. So I want to make sure that, if you're a true fan, is this going to be worth it? I want to point out some things that you want to look for if you're a fan of Springsteen, and also if you're not a fan of Springsteen, even more so, if you're just a casual fan, is this worth your time? Because it is a long show. So let's start with true fan, and without a doubt, true fans of Bruce Springsteen, do not miss this. It is a really great, it's a career-spanning thing. It covers all aspects of his life. It's not chronological, which makes it even better. So it's not just him going through his life. He's all over the place, but it's so, so good and so deep. I can't recommend it enough for a true fan. Without a doubt, if you're a true fan, you're going to love it. If you're a true fan and you don't love this, email me at rocktalkstudio@gmail.com and tell me why you don't like this. And for a casual fan, to me, again, I wouldn't miss it, but the only thing here that I can say that it is a little long. I mean, 2 hours and 15 minutes for a casual fan, it might be a little much. I think it's a stretch, though it's so personal and it's so well done. I think a fan of rock and roll is really going to appreciate it. So both the true fan is going to love it, a casual fan is going to like it. All right, when we come back, we're going to get into our encore. And what our encore is that one more thing that you need to see, hear, or read about Bruce Springsteen. Found a great one coming up next in the encore. Before we move on, I want to share a little bit about what I've been reading, what I've been watching, and what you can expect to see coming up on the next couple of podcasts. I just finished the new Matt Sorum book, the drummer for Guns N' Roses, Stone Temple Pilots, The Cult, to name a few. That was a wild, wild read. And I also just saw a couple documentaries, the new Creedence documentary, Traveling Band, and the documentary that was put together by Paul McCartney's daughter about Abbey Road Studios, If These Walls Could Sing. And one more thing, the Bono book. I'm just finishing up the Bono book. Such a great, great read. I can't wait to talk about that. You can find out about the past shows that we've done and the upcoming shows at the website, rocktalkstudio.buzzsprout.com. Now it's time for our encore. And what our encore is just one more thing that you need to hear, see, or read about our featured artist, which is Bruce Springsteen today. And for this one, it's pretty easy. It's kind of the next step of what this interview was in a more polished, in a more packaged presentation. And that's Bruce Springsteen on Broadway. He started doing these shows in 2017 and it ran for a couple of years. And they even mentioned it in the interview. Howard asked him, hey, what about the Broadway thing? Would you do it again? He said, yes, without a doubt. I could do that show forever. It is such a great show. I mean, it's this show plus even more. There's so much more. I mean, the songs are more complete. The storytelling is in depth. If you shed a tear in this show, you're going to definitely shed a couple on the Bruce Springsteen and Broadway show. It's a great encore. It's a great next thing to check out after this show, our special edition of the Howard Stern interview of Bruce Springsteen. Thanks for tuning in. Love talking rock and roll and really appreciate anyone who takes a few minutes out of their day to enjoy the ride with me. I hope you enjoyed the special edition show that we did on Springsteen. Remember, you can find other and future episodes at rocktalkstudio.buzzsprout.com. All right, tear it down, pack it up, and head on down the road. We'll see you next time in the Rock Talk Studio.